There would have to be a research committee from the school to determine whether or not a theory like presenting the evidence makes denial more effective because of the bandwagon effect of people wanting to deny what they just saw. This is a sort of consideration thinking that probably goes on in the Epstein situation room at the White House. If we show everything and then deny it, won't that smother it in candor? So the deniers want to smother it in candor. And I don't know whether actually showing the evidence is more effective in allowing them to smother in candor. It would be very ironic to discover that all the trouble I went through securing proof. You know, the stories of domestic abuse that don't have proof, and you're supposed to just fall in line with the sympathy vote of like the women of Epstein Island who were abused. And it's common sense to say, I'm willing to hear them and suspend disbelief. It's certainly wrong to laugh at somebody who's been injured, the way manifestly I have been. But when a person goes to shocking lengths to secure absolute proof because they don't want to have to demand the benefit of the doubt where it's not necessarily logically positive to demand the benefit of the doubt. In other words, an actress could masquerade as pretending that she was raped. Kyra Schoen used to tear her clothes and give off blood-curdling screams for a laugh outside my house on Winterton Street when this was all being mongered. But to present the evidence may actually impede the ability to secure intervention because it allows the bandwagon effect of people say, well, if we get past that, nothing else matters. So it's like Nietzsche's, that which does not destroy me makes me stronger. If absolute evidence and proof doesn't destroy them, then it merely makes them stronger. So the Zell postcard and the name Gay, Ill, Carolyn Burston, a nom de guerre for Christian Armageddonism, taken together in the context of a nerve agent, poison crime, a Venus flytrap on Mount Desert Island, talking about a scheme to transform the human race, the indications in Diva before AIDS, sum up to still that they deny. What good is the evidence? So what I thought I'd do is walk through some of the logistics with nothing. I mean, I have everything here. I could pull it out, but I'm not going to do that. And my preamble is explaining my decision-making process. Part of it is, I'm getting um, mobility impaired. So let's try it this way. My heart was, I was sending, I was given a Tylenol, like Attenborough, a Tylenol. And my heart went into flutter, and I was in the emergency room 3 times. That's why I wrote my book of poetry, published my book of poetry, because I didn't know how much longer I had to live. And led to diabetes and chemically castrated me, and now I have Parkinson's from this murder weapon, this bullet that Seattle Medical put in my body. And they communicated by ESP. I have a note one of these people gave to me. I think you understand me is all it says. I've shown it to people before. It's here. I can pull it out. I think you understand me was their semiotic routine. That if I go along, if I comply with their demands, they won't hurt anybody else. They had bystanders they were threatening. Well, the Postal Union sent me a tube with a heart condition even worse than I was in, just big enough for my bagel knife. And so I got the message from the Postal Union in Eastwood. And it was the postal union because one of the guys was ranting and raving in the postal union the next day. And of course, Proctor's book puts the postal union surveillance system on a par with the Black Panthers. So I put the bagel knife out in the trash. No sooner did I do that than they rip and murder Shannon Harps outside the clubhouse. What is the meaning of all of this? Well, for one thing, I could have just as easily defied them when it came to getting chemically castrated. For another thing, they were targeting bystanders, and they proved it. In other words, Seattle Central is full of it when they say that I was a troublemaker for warning them that this was going to happen if they didn't try to understand what these grave ripper hatters working with Yoko Ono and the Jeffin Corporation were doing. And it's very tedious ad nauseum. But it boils down to a C and a Star of David, which is the symbol of Neva Pornographic. The C stands for copyright, and the Star of David is the Jewish extermination symbol. So if you make that was a penny line, and they sent me Shannon Opal stuff. It was because I returned a letter to Bill and Opal, and they were watching all this, scrutinizing, making a gang claim on instinct for non-theft in this torrential mania that they unleashed in defense of Gail Burstyn and Will Zell. Don't get confused. These people are defending the Ripper murderers of the genocide while pretending that they're protecting John Lennon's estate. And that's how they get everything confused. They play Swami Nostra war games with the shell game between is it Lennon or is it the people who started AIDS? And then they move on Gaza. And they're shameless. They have no shame. They have no guilt. They have no remorse. They continue to do this. And the C and the Star of David is the penny line. Now, Neva is the name of the Japanese pornographic company that uses the C and the Star of David. I have it over here. I could show it to you. I explained why I decided not to in this state. But Neva Mancine was the name of Dee Dee Mancine, which is like Manson Cinema's sister. And so they're going to play, that's just a coincidence. Vengeance of Shiono is just a coincidence. I mean, the fact that I was Little Boy from Bush's ship in the Navy, the bomb was called Little Boy, it's just a coincidence. We have BB Tavern down by the disappearing mountain in the Tacoma Dome, the Hiroshima Dome. There's a myth that we're going to drop the bomb on Mount Edo. You know, the magic mountain disappears. Some days it's not visible. Sometimes it's crystal clear. So it's supernatural. And they get by saying Lenin was the spirit guide of the Swami Nostra. They have Seattle threatening their own children. It was nuclear. And calling it the principle of the thing because of a penny line where they rip or murder Shannon Harps. Wow. That's neat, man. That's a whole big thing.